dedicated to you.
What is really happening in Sri Lanka's health sector? There are issues surrounding medicine that have been imported into the country and about their quality and whether or not it's safe to be used. Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. The government, of course, has responded to these issues in the health sector. We've got details of these stories and much more lined up for you here tonight. Let's start off with a look at your top stories.
News first, headlines, main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Use of 3 batches of antibiotics suspended. SLPP says they suspect the crisis in the health sector is a conspiracy.
එන්නත් විස වෙනවා සේලයින් විස වෙනවා එක එක විදිහේ දිනපතා ප්‍රවෘත්ති මවනවා මේ සියල්ල යම්කිසි කුමන්ත්‍රණයක්ද කියන කාරණය ඉතාම තදින් හොයා බලන්න ඕනේ.
Farmers are affected due to low prices. Minister of Agriculture says they have requested money from the Treasury. Team headed by Attorney General to travel to Singapore tomorrow to negotiate on Express Pearl compensation claim. Decision to remove restriction on all imports except vehicles. Sri Lanka wins 2 more gold medals at the Asian Athletic Championship to rank 4th in Asia.
News first, headlines, main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
News first, main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Taking a look at those stories in detail now. Sri Lanka bagged 2 gold medals, 1 silver and a bronze medal at the 25th Asian Athletics Championships 2023. We start off tonight's bulletin by bringing you this report on the talents and skills of the next generation of Sri Lankan athletes who left Sri Lanka's flag flying high.
The 25th Asian Athletics Championships are being held in Thailand. Tarushikaruna Ratna won gold in the women's 800-meter event on Sunday, breaking the championship record as well as the national record in that event. She clocked a time of 2 minutes 0.66 seconds. Gayantika Aberatna won the bronze medal in the same event. Sri Lanka also won silver in the women's 400-meter relay event. Nadisha Ramanayaka, Tarushikaruna Ratna, Sayuri Lakshima Mendis and Harshini Fernando represented Sri Lanka in that event. Sri Lanka won the gold medal in the men's 400-meter relay, breaking a championship record and the Sri Lankan national record as well. The Sri Lankan team included Aruna Darshana, Rajita Rajakaruna, Pabasara Niku and Kalinga Kumarage. At the end of the championship, Sri Lanka was ranked 4th on the overall score. Sri Lanka won a total of 3 gold medals, 2 silver medals and 3 bronze medals.
The Ministry of Health says that 3 batches of antibiotics have been temporarily withdrawn from use. The decision was made after several patients who were administered with the drug experienced allergic reactions.
A senior official at the Ministry of Health said the use of the batch that included the antibiotic that was administered to the girl who passed away at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital, as well as the batch that included the antibiotics that were administered to 2 patients who experienced allergic reactions at the Kandy National Hospital, have been discontinued. He also said that the condition of the 2 patients of the Kandy National Hospital were not severe. Shamodi Sandipani, who was administered with the same drug recently, passed away at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital after suffering a severe allergic reaction. Minister of Health Keheliya Rambukwala yesterday said that the batch that included the antibiotic that was administered to Shamodi Sandipani was temporarily withdrawn from use. A committee headed by the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardana, visited the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital yesterday to conduct an investigation related to this incident. Thereafter, they convened a press conference in Kandy.
නෑ ඒක අපි තාම ඒ කියන්නේ නවත්තලා නැහැ. මොකද ඒ එන්නත දැනටත් ලංකාව පුරාම ඉතාමත්ම බහුලව පාවිච්චි කරන එන්නත. එතකොට මේක එක්කෙනෙකුට ඒ එන්නත ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ ආසාත්මිකතාවයක් ආවට අපි ඒ එන්නත සම්පූර්ණයෙන් එහෙම අයින් කරන්නේ නැහැ.
A few hours after this statement, Dr. Asela Gunawardana convened a press conference again and said that the use of the antibiotic has been temporarily suspended.
මහනුවර ශික්ෂණ රෝහලේදී තවත් එවැනිම ඒ ඖෂධයම පාවිච්චි කරන විට රෝගීන් දෙදෙනෙකුට අසත්‍යතාවයන් පැමිණ තියෙනවා. මහනුවර රෝහලේ ඇති වූ ඒ සිද්ධියත් සමගම මහනුවර රෝහලටත් පෙරදින රෝහලටත් එම ලබා දී තිබූ ඒ කාණ්ඩ වලට අයත් ඒ ඖෂධ තොගය తాවකාලිකව භාවිතය අත්හිටුවීමට තීරණය කරා.
The Academy of Health Professionals convened a press conference today and made a special statement. They claim that the Ministry of Health is yet to appoint a certified allergist.
The Director General of Health Services and this committee met yesterday and convened a press briefing in Kandy and says that there is no issue with this medicine and that they will continue administering it. They said that there is no need to suspend the use of this medicine. 2 hours after this statement was made, 2 patients at the Kandy National Hospital with fatal complications were admitted to the ICU. Only after they were admitted was the use of this medicine suspended. Who is auditing and deciding on the frequency of the permissible deaths that could occur when this drug is used? We challenge the Ministry of Health and everyone else to allow the people to lodge complaints regarding their issues. The Minister of Health spoke about the current situation in the health sector. I am facing the most amount of challenges these days. I am responsible for the health of 22 million people in this country. I will definitely make a promise to all of you and we will fulfill our responsibility to the letter. I am not someone who is scared of challenges and runs away from these responsibilities. There was a time, but it is not like that anymore. We are ready to take on challenges and overcome them by providing the service that the people need. Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Purujana Peramuna said that issues in the health sector of the country could be a conspiracy. 1 week after Gotabaya Rajapaksa went home, without Sri Lanka receiving even a single dollar, the fuel queues disappeared, the power cuts were gone and the gas cylinders stopped exploding. How can something like this happen? Minister Keheliya, even today such a conspiracy is ongoing. Vaccines are poisoned, saline is poisoned and news is created daily. I propose to you that it must be thoroughly investigated as to if there is some sort of conspiracy at play. We must remember that there are state sector employees who want to destroy this country. They are not attacking you, they are attacking our country's national security. They are attacking our reputation in the international arena. We should not allow these to happen.
Speaking in Kandy, leader of the Jatika Jana Balavege, Anurakumar Disanayaka, expressed his views on the health crisis today.
There is a reasonable suspicion whether certain ministers and officers bringing down substandard medicines in order to make a quick buck out of it. Therefore, the health minister should resign and they should conduct an independent investigation. They must pay compensation for the lives that were lost. I saw Keheliya Rambukwala saying that compensation can be paid to those who lost their sight. What is the compensation that can be paid to someone who lost his sight? They think that everything can be valued in money. They think that the worth of a person's life can be calculated in money. Therefore, these egoistic leaders who do not care about the lives of the people must be chased away. A no confidence should not only be brought against Keheliya Rambukwala but the entire government.
ඒ නිසා කෙහෙලි රඹුකලට විතරක් නෙවෙයි විශ්වාස භංගයක් ගේන්න ඕන මේ ආණ්ඩුවට විශ්වාස භංගයක් කරනවා.
However, the Samagi Jana Balavege said that no party is concerned about solving the people's issues. In the recent past, unsuitable officials were appointed, political allies were appointed. Now these committees that are supposed to look into the plight of the people are also full of corrupt individuals. When a member of the general public faces an injustice at a hospital, where can they lodge a complaint? There is nowhere to complain to. There is no point in complaining because they will not take the side of the patient. Yesterday, the Director General of Health Services went to the Peradeniya hospital and he conducted tests and convened a press briefing and said that there is no issue with the antibiotics and it can be used. Not even 2 hours after that statement, when they started using this drug again, 2 patients were admitted to the ICU. When that happened, he informed the hospitals not to use that drug again. What are they doing? So ask the Director General of Health Services, are you siding with the patients or the minister? Do you take decisions to protect the people of this country or to protect the corrupted leaders of this corrupted government who earn money through these multinational companies that import these medicines? The Frontline Socialist Party expressed their views about the current situation in the country. Because of the bupivacaine medicine, 2 deaths were reported. Because of the drug named propofol, another 2 deaths were reported. Another death was reported in the Ragama hospital due to the drug named amoxiclav. A 21-year-old girl of Kandy passed away from Cafriaxone drug poisoning. Bupivacaine and propofol are 2 unregistered drugs. So there is clearly an issue when it comes to bringing in these medicines. So these deaths were caused by the unregistered drugs brought down from India. So they can't say everyone dies. Some are allergic to certain medicines. People have passed away from registered medicines as well after bringing in unregistered medicines. 764 letters for these unregistered medicines have been released in the recent past. That means even paracetamol and amoxicillin have been brought in by unregistered companies. These patients are dying because of that. In the first 6 months of the year 2022, the Health Minister has released letters for 129 medicines. Additionally, the letters were also released for 93 medicines that were received as donation. In the second half of 2022, letters were issued for 362 types of medicines. Letters were also issued for another 233 drugs that were donated. In total, in the year 2022, the Health Minister has released 764 letters exempting medicines from the requirement to be registered. After that, in the first 6 months of the year 2023, according to our current information, there are more than 500 letters to exempt medicines from the requirement for registration. The Health Minister should take responsibility for this and he should resign from his post voluntarily. These are all murders and the people responsible should be punished for it.
සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරයා වක්කින් බාරගත යුතුයි. සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරයා වහාම ඉල්ලාසිය යුතුයි. මේවා ඔක්කොම මිනිමැරුම්. මේ මිනිමැරුම් සියල්ලට
Zallo, the people in this country are not lab rats. Harvesting paddy has begun in many districts. The biggest problem faced by farmers, however, is getting a fair price for their produce.
The Ampara district has over 200,000 acres of farmland and provides the largest supply of paddy to Sri Lanka. Harvesting of paddy in the Ampara district is currently ongoing. The fields in Panama and Pothuil that are cultivated under the small irrigation systems have begun harvesting, while harvesting of fields that are cultivated under large irrigation systems have not begun yet. In the coming weeks, a large amount of paddy harvest is to enter the market from the Ampara and Eastern province. But how is the government planning on purchasing this paddy harvest? The farmers in Ampara raised these issues about 4 days ago. This was a response of the authorities.
As of now, private mill owners have come to the fields and are buying fresh harvest for 60 to 65 rupees. The farmers are not selling their produce like this willingly. The farmers have no other option. If paddy is kept at our homes, the price does not increase. We truly regret this. Politicians say one thing and officials say something else. The circular issued is different to both of that. In the end, we as farmers have to suffer the consequences. I can understand your pain. I'm not speaking while being biased to the government, but there are many practical problems regarding this. We will definitely be able to purchase the paddy. We want to conduct this procedure successfully. The Paddy Marketing Board has been established to give the farmers a certified price for their produce. When the banner is put up and stores are opened, usually the prices increase. This time I think the government has set a price of 95 rupees. We are unable to predict the price of paddy.
It's been 4 days since this discussion was held, and this is the situation in Ampara today.
The government still has no plan to purchase paddy. Private intermediaries purchase paddy for 60 to 70 rupees. How can we give paddy at that price? How do we survive after that? There is no way for us to live like that. I have no way of staying home. Why? The person who harvested is coming after me for money. The man who sowed my field is also coming after me. I have to pay these people. To pay these people, where do I sell my harvest? I have no one to sell it to. I will have to sell it to an intermediary for 65 to 70 rupees. That is how paddy is bought. How can I sell this and farm during the next season?
Meanwhile, the farmers at Lahugala in Ampara are suffering as they do not get a fair price for their produce.
There is no point in farming. We are trying to stop farming. When we sell our produce this season and pay off our debts, we won't have anything left. We are trying to stop farming.
Harvesting has also begun in many areas including Kantale. A similar situation on the price of paddy can be seen in the southern province as well. The Secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture, Gunadasa Samarasinghe, has said that 500 million rupees were allocated to purchase paddy, and a request has been submitted for a further 750 million rupees from the Treasury. He added that steps will be taken to purchase a kilogram of samba at a price of 100 rupees, while a kilogram of kiwi samba will be purchased at 110 rupees.
Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaravira expressed his views regarding the areas of concern when it comes to setting a price for paddy. He made this statement in Mairapura Hambantota today. We do not want to make this country a one that is dependent on other countries for food. We are trying to produce the food that we need in our country itself and to export as much as we can overseas and earn dollars. If 1 kilo of paddy is 130 rupees, then a kilo of rice has to be sold at least 250 rupees. Then when the prices of paddy increases, we have to be mindful of that as well. That is why the prices of paddy should be maintained at a certain level now. We must give some concessions to the farmers and we must increase production.
Instead of setting a price of 100 rupees per kilo of paddy and establishing a procedure to purchase it, the government is allowing their lackeys, members of parliament and their friends to purchase the paddy from these farmers at a very cheap price. They don't get a fair price, and the consumer too doesn't get rice at a concessionary rate. These officials and politicians have set up rice mills and are looting the farmers as well as the consumers. We stress that this game cannot continue.
News first with the people.
The Minuwangoda Balamandala meeting of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held today.
On the 9th of May last year, members of the Aragalaya drug addicts who were high on drugs caused massive destruction, and it was well planned. No one can deny that. When I see the people gathered here, I can challenge anyone and say that the Pohottuwa will win the Gampar district at the next election. I am not threatening anyone, but if anyone harms members of our party, they will have to suffer with interest. We have got back into the game as a team. Many people are asking me, Minister Prasanna, how can you work with Ranil today after having spoken out against him in the past? But if you look back, I am happy that I supported him. We are now supporting President Ranil Wickremesinghe. I have to say that we won't allow anyone to pull him down and stop him from doing things he must do. We will not allow them to do what they did to Gotabaya Rajapaksa to Ranil Wickremesinghe. He has to lead this country for these 2 years. He built our country's economy.
An event to mark the establishment of the United National Party Balamandalaya for Nigambo was held in Munakare.
I say to the members of the United National Party and the United National Party members who have joined the Samagijana Balavegaya, there is no need to be divided now. A member of the United National Party is the President. Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was the leader of the United National Party for 25 to 30 years, is now President of the country. If that is the case, members of the UNP do not need a new President. We have our President who we know. So now we have to elect him as President at the next election. There are people from the SLPP here. There are also members of the JVP and there are members from the UNP here. So Ranil Wickremesinghe is not a leader belonging only to the United National Party. He has become a leader belonging to all these parties. Therefore, as UNP members, the time has come for all of us to come together because this country has to recover from a very difficult situation.
Now, selected foreign currency debts obtained from the China Exim Bank on the Ceylon Electricity Board's balance sheet have been transferred to the Sri Lankan government's balance sheet.
According to a report published by the Sunday Times, this includes an outstanding loan balance of $591.4 million, that is 214.7 billion rupees, as of end of December 2022, obtained to build the Lakvijay coal power plant. According to the report, these facts are revealed in a cabinet paper on state-owned enterprise restructuring recently submitted by the Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies. The transfer of these and other SOE debts to the government's accounts took place last year in anticipation for restructuring and on the IMF's requirements. Meanwhile, the number of electricity consumers who have a reading on zero on their meters as a result of not using electricity is increasing rapidly. According to the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, the number of households who have refrained from using electricity and therefore have a zero meter reading after the increase in electricity tariffs has increased from 350,000 households to over 500,000 households.
The National Water Supply and Drainage Board says the water supply to 90,617 customers was disconnected as they failed to settle their overdue payments. The arrears was accounted for the first 5 months of 2023. The Water Board adds that legal action will be taken against 5,277 customers for not settling their overdue payments. 2,949,305 new water connections were provided during this period as well.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that the government has revealed their inept and unethical conduct by issuing an electricity bill to the temple of the sacred tooth relic that is considered as one of the most holiest sites for Buddhists.
The statement issued by the opposition leader further states that this despicable act is an insult to Buddhism, the entire Buddhist society and the entire country in general. The release expresses opposition leaders' unconditional condemnation against this arbitrary decision of the government. He adds that even previously the government had targeted several temples and issued them electricity bills that they cannot afford. In the statement, the opposition leader said that the government should provide electricity as a concessionary rate for places of religious worship and the assistance for this can be obtained through the Central Cultural Fund.
A special team appointed by the cabinet to engage in discussions regarding the settlement for the damages caused by the Express Pearl disaster is set to depart for Singapore tomorrow. The delegation will be led by Attorney General Sanjay Rajaratnam. Discussions on this matter are scheduled to take place next Tuesday and Wednesday. The Attorney General's department has confirmed the participation of lawyers and officials from the shipping company, the insurance company for the discussions. Sri Lankan women working in the Middle East are some of the largest contributors to Sri Lanka's foreign exchange, remitting back millions of dollars. However, recent reports of the working conditions of Sri Lankan women there led many to believe that the conditions there are nothing short of modern-day slavery. Sivaranjani, who travelled overseas for employment to support the ailing financial situation of her family, had to return back to Sri Lanka after facing many issues. This is yet another example where Sri Lankan expatriate women are working in the pit of modern-day slavery.
As Sri Lanka struggles to recover from catastrophe, our women working in the Middle East are some of the most vital contributors to Sri Lanka's foreign exchange, sending back millions of dollars to prop up our economy. But for many of these women, the dreams of better lives for their families through their hard work all too often turn into nightmares, and they end up in circumstances that are nothing short of modern-day slavery. From Lindula in the Nuwara district comes the horrific tale of Veeran Sivaranjani, whose employers in Saudi Arabia tortured her by inserting pins into her body. After 9 days of ill treatment at the hands of her employers, Sivaranjani escaped with the help of another Sri Lankan and managed to get to the Sri Lankan embassy. The director of the Nuwara district hospital confirmed that upon examination of Sivaranjani, no less than 5 long pins, each of 3 centimeter length, were discovered inside her body. Doctors have so far surgically removed 2 pins from her legs. Sivaranjani, a 30-year-old mother of 1, travelled to Saudi Arabia on the 17th of June through the services of a foreign employment agency, as her little family is finding it difficult to survive in Sri Lanka's harsh economic conditions.
I was ill-treated by the lady of the house since the day I got there because I could not speak the Saudi language. I worked there for a week and endured the hardships there, remembering that I was doing this for my child. When I climbed a ladder to clean the toilet, I fell and hit my head, and I felt dizzy. I asked them to send me to the embassy and that I will find my way back to Sri Lanka from there. But they said they can't send me there and assaulted me. They asked me to place my fingerprints on a letter to say that I was taken for employment for a period of 3 years. I refused to do that. They were angry and tortured me by inserting pins into my hands and legs. I screamed and pleaded with them not to torture me, but they kept on doing it. After that, I worked there for another 2 days. A Sri Lankan there helped me to leave that house and I reached the embassy. When I was being treated for my wounds at the embassy, the pins that they inserted began to come out of my body. The lady at the embassy who saw that quickly sent me back to Sri Lanka.
Veeran Sivaranjani's husband has filed a complaint at the Agarapadana police regarding the injustice faced by his wife. He is demanding that the authorities take action to bring justice to his wife.
The government has decided to remove import restrictions on all goods except vehicles from next September.
A senior official of the Ministry of Finance said that discussions have begun with all stakeholders regarding this matter. There will also be a review of the import ban before it is lifted. Import restrictions on several items had been lifted recently as well.
How is Sri Lanka faring on meeting the commitments that the country made to the International Monetary Fund? Well, for those of you who are wondering, Sri Lanka's number of failed commitments to the IMF has doubled since the month of May.
According to the IMF tracker, the online tool launched by Verite Research, Sri Lanka has met 33 of the program commitments of the International Monetary Fund and failed 8 as of the end of June 2023. At the end of June, the data needed to make an assessment was not available and the commitments are classified as unknown, creating another concern on the lack of information. Program commitments are certain steps a country agrees to take before the IMF approves financing, which ensures the IMF's financial involvement will succeed. The IMF tracker is an interactive dashboard that tracks the status of commitments for Sri Lanka's latest IMF program. A verified progress report can only be given on trackable program commitments. A number of Sri Lanka's failed commitments to the IMF has doubled since May, where it was found to be only 4. The failed commitments are mainly of 2 types. They are regarding passage of legislation and information dissemination, which include conditions such as cabinet approval on restructuring plan for key state-owned enterprises and semi-annually publishing a significant procurement contract. Among those failed commitments, it has to be mentioned that Sri Lanka has committed to enact 3 significant laws, publish the draft of these laws by the end of April, and they are still pending Parliament approval and enactment.
Indian authorities said a major river overflowing near India's capital has reached the highest level on record, prompting mass evacuations and causing havoc with water supplies as northern states report rising deaths from heavy flooding. Indian Public Works Department Minister Atishi Marlena says about 30,000 people were evacuated along the riverbanks and urged residents to stay with relatives or seek shelter at relief camps. She said, quote unquote, "We are monitoring the water levels, but right now there is so much water that we cannot stop it. Our focus right now is on evacuating." A week of heavy rains in the north of India has caused flash floods, landslides, evacuations and sparked rescue efforts across much of the region. The death toll has climbed to at least 67 people, according to authorities. According to the Chief Minister, the mountainous state of Himachal Pradesh has been the hardest hit so far, with at least 31 deaths. The Indian Space Research Organisation provided an update on the Chandrayaan-3 lunar mission. The Indian Space Research Organisation, or ISRO, provided an update on the Chandrayaan-3 mission, stating that the health of the spacecraft is normal. Chandrayaan-3 is now in an orbit which, when closest to Earth, is 173 kilometers and farthest to Earth is 41,762 kilometers. A statement on ISRO's Twitter handle confirmed that the first orbit-raising maneuver, Earthbound Firing 1, was successfully performed at Bengaluru. The lander will take nearly 42 days to complete its journey to the moon. If ISRO pulls this mission off successfully, India will join an exclusive list of just 3 other countries that have managed a soft landing on the moon: the United States, the Soviet Union, and most recently, China. Serbian tennis champion Novak Djokovic and rising star Carlos Alcaraz of Spain will clash in the Wimbledon 2023 men's singles final today. Novak Djokovic is chasing his 8th men's single Wimbledon title to equal Roger Federer's record. Novak Moving on to the first test match between Sri Lanka and Pakistan. The first test match between the two countries got underway today at the Galle International Cricket Stadium.
Skipper Dimuth Karunaratne won the toss and opted to bat first. Sri Lanka lost 4 wickets for just 54 runs. Angelo Matthews and Dhananjay De Silva put on a partnership of 131 runs for the 5th wicket. Angelo Matthews scored 64 runs and recorded the 39th half-century of his test career. Sadira Samaravikrama scored 36. Sri Lanka put on a total of 242 runs for the loss of 6 wickets at stumps on day 1.
Then Angelo Matthews just the 5th wicket on the 6th wicket pair.
Dhananjay De Silva is unbeaten on 94 runs.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. I'm Charlotte Benedict with the News First team. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care.